that I want to spend some time talking about today, and that is a dangerous and growing inequality and lack of upward mobility that has jeopardized middle-class America's basic bargain, that if you work hard, you have a chance to get ahead. I believe this is the defining challenge of our time, making sure our economy works for every working American. That's why I ran for president. It was the center of last year's campaign.
As I said earlier, that's why he ran for president. I didn't know that. To make sure. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now. I can't believe it's Wednesday. I can't believe it's the final hour of the Wednesday show, but here he is again. Charles Hurt, ladies and gentlemen, of the Washington Times. Hello, Charles.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me.
You have a great Thanksgiving?
Oh, just marvelous Thanksgiving.
Good.
And good. It's always good to be with family.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. All right, so there's Obama yesterday. I'm telling you, he goes from one topic to the next, but this is who he is at his core. Before we get to your great column today about the post office, which just again shows how great government gets things done. But this is, I mean, if it were up to him, he'd have us all making the same amount of money, living in the same size homes, driving the same small little cars, because that would be fair.
That certainly would be in his mind, just to have us all move to the ghetto and be poor and not have health care, which really is. I mean, the notion that he is claims to be trying to close the gap, the wealth gap, is amazing. That he would even try to claim that, because of course, what Obamacare does is actually it takes a lot of money away from young people, healthy people, and who are generally speaking have less money, and it gives that money to older, sicker people who already have a lot of money. So he's not doing anything to close the gap; he's widening the gap. And the idea, and I don't know whether I guess he is. It's possible that he's lying about it, and he just wants to continue to lie about it. But the other possibility, Steve, is that he really is so thoughtless and has spent so little time thinking about these very basic things that he doesn't even.
The other side of the argument is maybe he does, and that's the goal. I mean,
I'm not capable of getting my brain around somebody that would knowingly do that, but at the same time, he seems like a smart enough guy. I don't understand why he doesn't understand it. So it's evil or stupidity, either one. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, well, now, I don't think it was evil on the part of the post office, but stupidity, reigns supreme. Let's talk about what you wrote at the Washington Times, WashingtonTimes.com today. Your great column about the Statue of Liberty postal stamp. Why don't you take us through this one? Or as Ricky Ricardo would say, start explaining.
So these geniuses, they go out here and they're gonna commemorate the Statue of Liberty, and they print up a stamp, get a good picture of the Statue of Liberty, only to realize after they've printed the stamps, I think some 5 billion of them, that there's a slight problem. They're actually not commemorating the Statue of Liberty, the one in New York Harbor. That is one of the most important iconic images that represents freedom and everything that is great about America. Instead, it turns out that it was a picture of the knockoff schlocky replica of the Statue of Liberty that's on the Strip in Las Vegas. and then not only did they do this, but then when it was brought to their attention by stamp enthusiasts, who I think are called philatelists, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that on TV.
I really had to be very careful writing it down. So when it was brought to their attention, they said, "Oh, well, we don't really care. We like that anyway." So the stamp is actually commemorating the Vegas Strip. Now, of course, the artist that built that sculpted the knockoff Statue of Liberty is suing the post office for ripping him off. And if history is any evidence, then it's very likely he will actually win this lawsuit because, of course, as I know, the post office has admitted that they knew that they were using the wrong thing and didn't credit him and did not give him any royalties.
And in their financial condition, any significant winnings in such a lawsuit could result in the closing down of the Postal Service.
Oh, wouldn't that be awful? Then we would have to rely on things like companies, disastrous companies like FedEx and UPS to deliver all our mail. And you know what? You know what I love about FedEx and I love about UPS? They're so friendly. I just, you open the door and the guy walks up and he hands you the package and it's like, good day. The post office, they're so unfriendly. They're just
what I can attest to is waiting in line. And, for the simplest thing, and there's, 2-3 people in front of you, 4 in back of you, and there's 2 people or 3 people at the counter, but only 1 is working.
Because the others are on break.
I don't know what they are, but they make a point of being there at the counter, and the sign says next window, so you're doubly frustrated. Why are you so hateful? Why do you hate workers? Do you think they should be working while they're at the counter? It is just incredible. Oh, no, but this is insane. They might as well have used. You ever see in Times Square or places like that these people who dress as the Statue of Liberty? I mean the green, and they take pictures with people. They should have done that.
Yeah, with one of those foam Lady Liberty hats, the foam spike. That would have been terrific.
Hey, we're talking to Charles Hurt of the Washington Times here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Coming up will be Charles Payne, no relation to Charles Hurt, and then Congressman Tom Cole. But let me ask you this: Harry Reid. And you talk about chutzpah and a story that the media is ignoring, of course. Harry Reid is giving his many of his top assistants a pass. They don't have to sign up for Obamacare. They don't have to go onto the new exchanges. Whereas no other congressional leader, not Boehner, not McConnell, not Pelosi. Now, Boehner and McConnell would have every right since they didn't vote for the thing. Yeah. But Harry Reid is giving some of his top staff a pass, an exemption.
It is so incredible, and it is. I think it is evidence why Harry Reid has been so successful at politics in Washington, is that the man operates without an ounce of shame about anything. And if it benefits him or benefits somebody he wants to benefit, he has no problem just doing that. And it's the height, as you point out, the height of hypocrisy. Right. To do all that.
I know, and I almost chuckled when you said it points out why he's so successful in politics, and then you described what he does. I mean, you're absolutely right, though, when they had that, when Dana Bash asked him about the National Institute of Health, and why don't you just take up the bill the House passed to fund for kids, if you could save 1 kid with cancer, and he said, why would I do that? I have people who are on leave now in my home state. Why would I save a kid with cancer? I mean, this guy knows, you're right, no shame.
Yeah, and it's a real advantage. Obviously, in anything else, in a marriage, in a friendship, in any job where your trust is warranted, is treasured. This would be a liability. But he's found the one profession, this in boxing, where it's just complete shamelessness and thuggery is what it is.
By the way, Charles, put this aside. I know who's going to replace Martin Bashir now that he's resigned from MSNBC. Oingo Obama. Now that he's been given the green light to stay in, I'm sure they're negotiating with him as we speak, and he'll be taking over from Martin Bashir next week.
It'll be an improvement.
Hey, always a pleasure. We'll speak to you next week, Charles.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Charles Hurt, ladies and gentlemen, on the Steve Malzberg Show. I love talking to Charles. Got a great sense of humor. That's what makes it so pleasurable, plus smart. It sounds like somebody else I know. Oh, yeah, me, Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and